Hi, welcome back to the fourth episode. We are at episode 4. Yay, like amazing. Like I even laugh, and I think I've also surprised myself with the consistency. I think with time the nerves have kind of cooled down a bit, and so like I'm getting comfortable being on this space. Thank you for your support, whether here online or in person. I've met a couple of people just encouraging me to go on and giving me feedback. And thank you so much for that community of friends that I have that encourages me to do this. And so, yeah, let's, I think, dive in to episode 4. I think the goal of this episode is to share my motherhood journey. I've shared a bit. I know I didn't share a lot about the marriage bit of it. I think I shared it in relation to work, but I think I'll circle back later on, kind of bits and pieces, like um, topical, kind of away, and eventually you'll kind of get to know how my marriage experience has been just by sharing it in topics. So yeah, just allow me to just go ahead and share how my motherhood journey has been or how it started. So let's get right into it. So, for us, I think, and these are things you need to discuss before you get married. Do you want to have children? Because I think there's usually an assumption that everyone wants a family, everyone wants kids, and all that. So I don't think it's something you should assume. I think it's something you should actively discuss while you're courting or while you're doing premarital counseling. In your many conversations, I think it's important for you to bring up the aspect of having children. And for us, we talked about it, and I think the goal was to have. I prefer a big family. I come from a family of, like, we're just two of us, two siblings, me and my sister. My husband has four other siblings, so there are five boys. And my need for many children is not necessarily because it's just the two of us. It's just that for some reason, I think it would be fun. It would be fun raising many kids, seeing their different personalities, seeing the different journeys each of them take, me being there to support them, just having fun with them and seeing how they turn out. Of course, at that time, naively, I thought it's easy. Okay. Now that I'm a mother, I know that whole process of being pregnant, labor, and delivery, it's not as easy. And so I think I pumped my brakes a bit in terms of how many children I want. So I think initially the goal was to have 5 children. My husband didn't mind. I don't think he was rigid about it. Like for me, it was, again, I'm the one carrying the pregnancies, but then I'm thinking, um, we have to provide for all of them. Anyway, the point is, he didn't mind having as many kids as possible. I think for him, between 2 and 3. But if I'm willing, and if we have the ability, we can go up to 5. Anyway, so yeah, after my first experience, I thought, do I want 5 children? Anyways, so yeah, so both of us wanted kids. We knew that. The other discussion we had to have was how long or when do we want to start thinking about having kids. And for us, I think it was we were on the same page in terms of we needed to wait a little bit, like get married, wait for 1 or 2 years. Ideally it was 2 years, and then we start trying out for children. And so that one we didn't argue at all, so that was easy peasy. So we knew we're gonna get married, we're gonna enjoy each other's company, like we're just gonna stay together first before thinking about children. And then also the thought of, I don't think this was something we considered, but I think it worked out for good at the end of the day, that we were moving to a different city. So I think it was wise for us to wait, for us to settle down, kind of, you understand, like settle down before you start thinking, introducing another transition into the marriage. So you just got married, you just moved to a new city, you have to settle, and then you get pregnant. Yeah, so we kind of, it was some sort of planning our lives. So kind of spreading out those many transitions so that they don't happen at the same time. So we got married 2017. We conceived in 2019, and it was like, we are ready now, we are ready, get rid of the family planning, let's start trying for kids. And for us, we didn't wait for very long, praise God. I think 2 months um, into our trying out, we conceived. That was in early 2019. Yeah, I think the first quarter of 2019. So this is our firstborn. I'm still working. The pregnancy wasn't like challenging or tough. Like, I didn't have big cravings. I didn't have any what do you call, the pregnancy periods. Like, I didn't have any complications. And it was like kind of easy, smooth. Like, I used to just wake up, go to work, do everything that it needed to be done. Like, I didn't even slow down. Did everything that needed to be done, get home. It was, I feel like that nothing really changed during that pregnancy. I didn't have my hormones. I know they were there, but they really didn't stop me from doing most of the things I was doing before getting pregnant. And so yeah, my pregnancy journey wasn't tough. Um, what was I craving? I didn't have cravings, yes, but I used to tease my husband that, like, you hear stories of women waking up in the middle of the night and telling their husbands, go get Miss Jubo. Oh my goodness. So I used to tease my husband and tell him that, like, just testing him, like, if I needed, sausages and they're not here, or chicken, or shawarma, and it's not in the house, and I need to woke you up in the middle of the night for you to go get it, would you do that? And he told me, no. Like, no, why would I wake up at midnight to go get you something? Number one, why will I get it? Like, for him, you're saying it's unreasonable. Like, why would you do that? So you just wait until morning, we go get you. But in the middle of the night, no. Of course, I used to think, maybe don't care for me enough for you to, go out of your way and do that. But again, I think it sank that, yeah, it's pretty unreasonable, just because, yeah, anything can wait, really, self control. So, but I never got to that place where I'm making such demands on him. So yeah, so I worked throughout that pregnancy. And then that time we didn't have a car, so I used to use motorbikes. I remember my gynecologist warning me to stop using motorbikes. I think he's heard of many stories of how motorbikes can really mess up your pregnancy. So like, so if I don't use a motorbike, what do I use, and all that. So yeah, so this one day in the morning, I'm leaving for work. I get a motorbike. I used to have a motor guy, and I used to tell him to be careful, like, don't jump over bumps carelessly. And he could see I'm pregnant, so he was really gracious enough to just go slow. But this now morning, we get to a place where there are cops and all that harassing people, and so I think for him was trying to kind of evade and go a different way so that he doesn't encounter the cops. So in that whole situation, we kind of, yeah, we didn't fall down, but I kind of had to get my leg on the floor to kind of, for stability. Like, it was just something that happened. Like, it wasn't anything big. It was just a bit of a tilt, and then back on course. So I really didn't, because it didn't seem like it was anything. Like we had everything under control, and so I got to work. That day was pretty busy, so I go through my day, get home in the evening. No pains and all that. At 11 o'clock at night, I feel like I'm dripping. Huh. I'm a first time mother, guys. I don't know. I say dripping because at that time I didn't know anything about. Well, I knew about water breaking, but for me, I was expecting the dramatic, splash and all that. So for me, dripping was a concern. Like, why am I dripping? What's happening? Because I sat on the toilet because I can't just put on a pad. Like, I'm not. It's not. I'm not rolling. Sorry for TMI, but I had to literally sit at the toilet because it was just drip, like it wasn't stopping dripping. And there, on the sitting on the toilet, I used Google, like, to try and figure out what's happening because I didn't understand. So I think just Google, yeah, Google. Google told me to go to hospital, and we just, because I wasn't due, I was 38 weeks. I was 38 weeks. I wasn't feeling any pain. For me, I thought the mark of being ready is, you start feeling the labor and all that. So we decided to go to hospital for them to explain why I'm dripping. Like, we don't know. So we didn't pack a bag. It was just, routine check. We go, we come back home, sleep, wake up, go to work and stuff. So I just packed something in my sling bag, got an Uber because it was around midnight, and off we go to the hospital. And so I walk in, like, I'm not feeling any pain, it's just that drip. So I see a doctor, and the doctor tells me, yeah, we're gonna have to admit you. And I was there thinking, explain, like, I'm not feeling any pain, like, well, why are we, and like, why? So he sends me to the maternity ward for the nurse to check if I'm dilated, and what is it called? How many centimeters I'm dilated. Remember, this is my first experience, my first pregnancy. Number one, I don't understand, those processes. I don't know how they check dilation. So the nurse tells me, lie on the bed, gives me that disclaimer they always give everyone, that this is going to feel a bit uncomfortable. I'm thinking, okay, let's see what this discomfort looks like. So she does, and I remember feeling like, oh no, like, you're invading my privacy. Like, no. Then this is, of course, there's nothing much I can do or she can do. Like, that's the whole process of it. So she checks. She says I'm 2 centimeters dilated, and then that whole admission process starts, and like everything is happening so fast because tell me how I'm moving from 1 minute, I'm just coming in for you guys to explain why I'm dripping, to you're being admitted, you're gonna have this baby. I am not ready. And mind you, the other thing is, I just don't know. I don't know whether it's because I didn't have time to prepare. Like, I had not even finished shopping for the baby. I thought I had time. Like, who would have thought that I would be delivering at 38 weeks? For me, I was waiting for 40 weeks. I had even planned that I'm gonna work until the last day. Like, those ultrasounds that are written due date. Like, I knew my due date, and I had 2 weeks to go, and so I knew I had time to put my affairs in order. So I don't have a hospital bag packed. Even if I sent someone to the house, there was nothing. There's just a few clothes. There's so many baby essentials I had not yet bought. And so I just got so confused. Of course, I can't really argue at that time because I wasn't very knowledgeable. Right now, maybe I can challenge what a doctor says. But at that time, they tell me do this, I do. So I get admitted. At this point, I'm not even feeling any sort of pain. So yeah, I was given the hospital gown, assigned a bed, and I was just told to sleep. And I think the instruction was, if I don't start feeling, yeah. So they told me, yeah, that was your water breaking. Your water broke, that's why you're dripping, and you remember that motorbike accident, not accident, incident I mentioned earlier? Apparently, that's what triggered it. You, like, for me, it didn't mean anything. There was nothing. I didn't get a scratch, anything, but I think it kind of had an effect on the womb, and so that's why I started dripping. Like, it almost like, yeah, like my baby came early because uh, that whole system. Up until now, I still don't know those terminologies, but yeah. So my water broke. Labor wasn't there. So what they usually do is that they have to induce labor. And so they told me, you rest. Tomorrow morning, we will start the whole process. Like, I would get my first dose in the morning for inducing. This by this time, I don't even know. Like, yeah, inducing. Oh, it's a tablet. Okay, yeah, you'll give me. It's fine. Like, because I'm already here. The expectation is that the baby is gonna come anytime. So yeah, so I sleep. That's a whole night. Hospital bill, I'm thinking, like, right now I'm wiser. I'm literally wiser. So that's one night in the hospital. They gave me the drug in the morning at 9. Give me another dose at, I don't remember. But yeah, like, I got those tablets a couple of times the following day. So yeah, then right now pain is starting to progress. Like, first tablet at 9, a bit of pain. I could still chat with people and laugh, manageable pain. And then at 3 o'clock now, it started getting very intense where I had to literally stop every time the pain comes. And then I think everything climaxed at around 5, 6 p.m. Like, that's when I started screaming. Like, screaming. Like, nobody prepared me for the pain I felt. Like, oh. Anyways, I managed to um, deliver the baby at around 7:30. This was on Friday. So you remember, Thursday evening, I start dripping. I come to hospital, get admitted on Thursday night. Baby comes on Friday at 7:30 at night. So I had not even, applied for leave. Like, me, I was gonna work. I was gonna report to work the next day. So I had to. Good thing my boss works in the same hospital, so it was easy for me to just text him and tell him, "Oh, labor came. Sorry." I mean, that's how I started my leave. By the baby deciding to show up before any of us were ready. So you remember, I had not even packed anything. So I have very good friends. Apparently, they were planning a baby shower for me that Saturday. So with my firstborn, never had a baby shower. So what they did is that all the gifts that to bring, that's what they actually just brought to the hospital, and that's what I used as my, hospital bag. Like, I had a list, I just hadn't packed everything, and of course there are some things that I had not bought. So good thing, people were on top of things. I think while they were planning for the baby shower, my husband had shared the list I had, so they had bought quite something. So Apple, they came through for me. So yeah, I stayed in hospital, I think, for another 2 nights and then get discharged. I did I have birthing complications? Apart from episiotomy, I think I really struggled to push. And so I think my firstborn really stayed in the birth canal for a while. So when he came out, he didn't cry. You understand? Like, this was my first experience. There's a way I was expecting things to happen. Push baby out, you hear the first cry, hold him, and all that. So for me, that didn't happen with my firstborn. They had to kind of go resuscitate him. This is probably TMI, but yeah. So, and put in an incubator for a while, for a couple of hours. So I got to hold him way later. I remember my husband would tell the story how he was torn between, should I keep holding my wife's hand because he was in the delivery room, or should I go check on my son? He was just here with me, but his gaze was with the nurses and doctors trying to resuscitate my son. So that was a miracle. Because yeah, so he cried. For me at that time, I am like, I'm just recovering from a pain that I never thought was possible. So I wasn't really, I was there, I wasn't there. Like, I really wasn't very aware of what was happening. I didn't black out necessarily, but it was just such a relief. I just wanted to just sit there and rest. So yeah, so my son is well. My son, it didn't take long. Like he wasn't. It wasn't. eh, Am I really in the place to say that now that I don't even remember? Anyway, yes, my son pulled through. Praise God. So yeah, we stayed 2 more days in hospital and then got discharged. This was normal delivery. So I think that was a story for my firstborn son. It was COVID. I delivered in 2020. So I gave birth the next week. First COVID case in Kenya was reported. So a lot of my motherhood journey that time was very indoor, very, the way when COVID was pretty new in Kenya, you literally would go out, come back, remove all the clothes, wash your hands. You'd have a day bag come in, and after she leaves, you still have to wipe down things because she's coming and going, so you never know what she's left. Like it was quite a season, and then with a newborn and with all those scares of how people are dying of COVID. So we were pretty scared, but also grateful that we had each other, because of the curfews and all. Like there was a lot that kind of stopped or slowed down, and so we really enjoyed each other's company, just being indoors. Of course, the disadvantage was that we didn't really um, get support. Like it was between me and my husband. Like no visitors, no parents coming. Like yeah, it was up to us to for quite some time. And remember, new parents. That was a really one of the laws about raising or bringing up a kid during that season, that you really had to um, do it by yourself somehow. So that community that's usually around. And do I mind? Um, I don't think, I don't know. I think we did so well. I think we really, small little family. We have this new person marveling about him, you know. So I don't think we really felt it. The fact that people were not around as much. So I don't think that was an issue. Anyways, yeah, so but I had to go back to work. My husband spent a lot of time with my firstborn son, our firstborn son. You notice how I've changed from my to our firstborn son. So he spent a lot of time with him during his first few months, or rather, just before he turned one. So, like after I went back to work, it was my husband who primarily took care of him. So the day bag used to just come, clean, and leave. Yeah. So, did I have any postpartum issues? I think because it was COVID, the fact that we didn't have a community, or um, we didn't have people coming in and out to help, I think that was probably a low. And it's not that, to some extent, it wasn't like a low, 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 because I also don't mind having my own space. But the fact that COVID was there, it meant that that was not an option. But I really had a supportive husband. I think it eased out the load. Like it didn't feel as if I'm doing this alone. I think one of the scares was also the sleepless nights. Um, like you can't have a 6 hour um, rest or sleep, like, continuous. They will always be broken. Was that an issue for me? I don't remember it being an issue with my firstborn. I just remember being excited about this new experience of being a mother. I think even my husband helping made it easier, or rather kind of drew my attention away from I'm not sleeping enough. And also the fact that we're in the house during the day. So like I wasn't going anywhere, and this had for the first 3 months. So we would catch sleep during the day. Like we came up with a pretty uh, good system that was working. And so I think none of us really felt overwhelmed. I think for me, one of the greatest challenge with my firstborn was uh, breast milk. Like I didn't have enough at all. I think it took about a week or two by the time I started producing milk. And so we had to do a bit of formula during those first few weeks. And even when the milk came, it wasn't enough. Like, so we had a bottle of formula just at hand, just in case we sense that my baby is crying because he's hungry and because he hasn't fed enough. And so for me that was a challenge, and especially the first 2 weeks. Like I know I need to breastfeed. I'm putting my baby there. He would suckle. It's called suckling milk. He would try to suckle out milk and then just burst out crying. I think because out of frustration that there's no milk there and I'm hungry. And so for me, really, that was those are some of my low moments, that I wasn't able to produce enough milk. And then to make it worse, then I have to go back to work. When you're at work, I can't bring my baby to work. So you really have to express milk and enough milk to feed him while you're away. So I remember going to work, coming back, like I would literally, and I used to have a manual pump, like I would be there drifting off to sleep, but my hands are like working because I know I have to express enough milk to be used the next day because I'm going to work. I remember like that was tough. Like I don't, like, it was like I even took supplements to increase my milk production. I took all those things that a mother is told to take. Jahe. I took supplements, like a whole bottle, like supplements. Leave alone the drinking chocolate and all that, because I was really desperate to have enough milk. So I wasn't really settled. So I think for me, I was looking forward to my son turning 6 months, where it's not just the breast milk that he has to survive on. At least we can supplement with porridge, oats, and stuff. So I really looked forward to the 6 month mark. Yeah, I think for me that was the greatest challenge. The breast milk, bit of it. But other than that, I think it was like, let's cruise. We were cruising, and it was all good. Um, so now after that, this was in 2020. So the plan was to space them out 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, and so we tried again, and we conceived in 2022. We conceived again in 2022, and this is, I'm not sure whether, because I feel like if I give this story in this episode, it's gonna be a long one. Or maybe I should just share, but in summary. So we conceive again in 2022, and unfortunately we lose that pregnancy at 27 weeks. Um, thank God that I'm able to share this without crying. But I remember how, okay, if I get into details, maybe let me just, the summary of it is that we lost that pregnancy at 27 weeks. Um, Now I'm torn. Yeah, at 27 weeks, like we had gone through the whole thing of, we had started shopping for him. We had even started looking up names, and we already had a name in place. And then, anyway, yeah, so you see, like I'm really struggling on how to share that, how that experience was. But I remember just being, that's a whole, allow me to share that as a separate story, because there's grief involved, and maybe just sharing how we navigated that season of grieving. Yeah. Yeah, and I think moving forward after that season, and up until now, we are still trying to figure out whether to say that our current son is our third born or second born. Of course, I think the challenge is always that if we say he's our third born, then we really have to explain why we are saying he's our third born, and people are just seeing Buba and AK. Like you only have two sons, why you're saying he's your third born? So I think it has been a challenge for us at figuring out um, how to say that we have three sons. Three sons. He was gonna be a boy, guys. He was gonna be a boy. Anyways, yeah, so like we have three sons. One of them is with the Lord, and two of them are here with us. So, so that whole season, 2022, we lose a pregnancy. We took time off, like before we needed to, or rather, we felt we were ready to conceive again. So we conceived again in 2023. And now this is our newest son, who's just turned 14 months the other day. So we conceived for him, the pregnancy was pretty different. Now for him, it was really tough. The cravings were there, the morning nausea, morning sickness, nausea, and all that was there, back pains, pelvic pain. Like, and do you remember carrying that pregnancy, um, that pregnancy being followed by a traumatic loss? There was a lot that was going on. I think even my mental state, in terms of like every little thing used to scare us. Like every day I used to wake up and pray that the Lord will preserve. You know, like every week you tick off, like now we are first trimester out, second trimester. And when we passed the 27th week, I remember saying praise God, because like there was so many fears while I was carrying my third pregnancy, and I remember saying, let me get to at least 30 weeks, like when I got to 30 weeks, let me get at least to 32 weeks, because then the thought was in case there's any complication, then they would survive outside the womb. Like, yeah, so there was a lot of fear carrying my third pregnancy, and a lot of pain, pelvic pain especially, and then the nausea. Like, yeah, it wasn't as smooth as my first pregnancy. And so, but now his delivery was pretty smooth. Literally, a Hebrew woman. Like, I knew better. I remember when I told you I'm wiser now? I didn't show up to hospital early because I feel like with my first pregnancy, I was admitted too soon. Rather, yeah, like it was too soon to admit me. But now with my third pregnancy, a third born, I feel like I just went to hospital in the nick of time. Like, actually, we usually say that if we dilly-dallied for like another 30 minutes, I was gonna get I was gonna deliver in the car. So like we just arrived in the hospital in the nick of time. It's because I had also done a lot of research, so I knew what to look out for in terms of signs of labor. And so I remember uh, that night, I don't know why it happens at night. So like I started timing my labor. Like like I was asleep, woke up, went to the hospital, to the toilet, but I really struggled to go back to sleep because of the pain. So I decided, because I had an app on my phone, let me start timing the contractions. And so I started timing, and they're like 50 seconds apart, literally 50 seconds apart. And the app, and for the app, they usually require you to input like three contractions, and then they can advise you whether you should go to hospital or not. So after inputting like data for like three contractions, they just told me, yeah, head to the hospital. And that time, the pain wasn't like, the screaming on top of my lungs kind of pain. It was a manageable one that if I'm walking out, stand, pause, let it pass, and then, move on. And so I said, okay, fine. The app told me to go to hospital. Let me, start packing and wake up my husband, my son. We start preparing and go. This is 2 a.m. And so we showered, like we did everything slowly because I wasn't feeling pain, even though the contractions were like 50 seconds apart. So by the time we're leaving the house, it was like 4 o'clock, 4 a.m. And I remember, like, my husband would, go through bumps. There's those speed bumps there. They're called speed bumps. Those do 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 do. I would scream in the car. And my son is there in the back seat because we didn't have a live in. So we took the whole family. We went the whole family to hospital. So I remember my son saying, Mommy, why are you screaming? Like this was so new to him. Like he was so scared. Like he didn't know. He knew there was a baby, and he knew we were going to hospital to, receive the baby and all that. But he didn't understand why I was in pain and screaming. Anyway, we got to the hospital. I'm literally limping. Like now. Like I am ready now. So I leave my husband, to process the admission. I was just told to go to the maternity ward. Like no doctor saw me. Like those MOs thing. I was just told to go to the maternity ward. By the time I'm getting to the maternity ward, the nurse is checking how far I'm dilated. She tells me 8 centimeters, and I'm thinking, yeah, we're about to have the baby. And within, I'm fast forwarding this story. There are so many details to it. Within 30 minutes of me getting to the hospital, I delivered. Like 30 minutes. Of course, when I flashed back or in hindsight, I remember I think I started laboring on Thursday and I was delivering my baby on Saturday morning. Thursday I went to work. Like you could just feel those two, cramping, like cramping pains. I didn't think anything. Like if I can still do things, if I can still walk, I still drove, I was still able to drive and all that. I didn't think it was a big deal. So Thursday, I started feeling those two crampy pain. And for me, I thought it was Braxton Hicks because, again, you remember the pelvic pain I was talking about? I thought it was just a continuation of that. So I really never gave too much attention or thought to it. So but now that I got to hospital, I was told I was 8 centimeters dilated. I knew it probably started on Thursday and then Friday. And then now Friday evening or morning, got admitted, then delivered on Saturday morning within 30 minutes. I remember my husband was with me in the delivery room 1 second. I actually started pushing even before the nurse was ready. I don't think they really expected that the baby would be delivered that quickly. Like you just came in, just give us time. They even called my gynecologist. Um, I think they couldn't reach him. And then, for women, you would know, I literally felt the urge to push. And I pushed, like, the nurse was still putting on her gloves when I think the baby started crowning. So everything was just happening so fast. Anyway, so I thank God that really went well. This time there was no episiotomy and all that. A nurse is one who delivered. By the time my gynecologist was calling back, he was told that the baby is already here. And I remember this was the shortest stay in hospital. I think within 24 hours. Like it was just one night and then Sunday we were discharged. And so this was pretty quick. And now, this time, I got to hear my baby crying. Like, I literally held my baby. I literally held him. Like, he came out. It was so fast. Came out, held him, you know. Oh, I was telling you about my husband being in the delivery room one time. He went to, settle down my firstborn. And while he was doing that in the wardrobe, he just had the baby crying, so he wasn't there when the baby was coming. And so like that's how fast it happened. So but we thank God, like it's so like whew, I feel like I should just jump right into it and tell you how different these journeys are, from pregnancy to how they turn out to postpartum to how they turn out in terms of, like, I can already tell how different my two sons are. Like, journeys are different. Like, I can't assume because my delivery with third my third delivery was easy, it's gonna be the same with my fourth delivery. Like, I can't, like, they're all so different. And I'm saying that because you remember when I told you with my first son, postpartum wasn't as tough other than the breast milk. Now with my you see how I'm struggling. With my third son, um it was tough. Postpartum was the toughest. Like, I think I still flash back and remember, like, I still have some residue of how I felt and how low it was. So I experienced a bit of postpartum blues with my third son. And I don't remember, I don't know. Like, sometimes it's so hard to explain because I had sleepless nights with my firstborn. Like, it's nothing new. So I feel like I should be in a position to handle it better with my third son, but I didn't. Like, it was the toughest postpartum that I had. I had enough milk. That's a contrast. I had enough milk, but it was it was just, yeah. I think sometimes it's hard to explain the postpartum blues, like where they come from or why. I think for me, with my with AK, he's called AK. AK is a short form of his name. There was also a bit of postpartum complications with him, with the umbilical cord not falling off quickly, with it falling off and still leaving something there, and then with him having reflux. Like, I would literally not sleep because I want to see. Like, I was so scared that I would sleep, he would have reflux and choke on it. Like, I was so scared. Like, I used to sleep I used to sleep in the living room seated on the sofa because I felt like that's how I would get enough sleep. Like, just holding him throughout, like monitoring him. Like, I would be able to just close my eyes while holding him while I'm seated down. Like, that's the only way I used to get enough sleep. But at TO, I have put him in his bed and I am on the bed. Like, I would literally be so restless. And that plus, yeah, so with him, just there was just a lot. And I think I eventually got out of it, I think, early this year. Like, it was, yeah, it was terrible. Like, yeah, it was bad. Anyway, so again, just to show you that journeys can be different. I had an easy delivery with him, a tough pregnancy journey, tough postpartum. With my firstborn, easy pregnancy, tough delivery, easy postpartum. And I mean, and I'm sure your story is probably different with your, if you have multiple kids, I'm sure you'd also say that your pregnancies and your experiences have been different. And I mean, that's the journey of motherhood. Sometimes it's hard to predict like, it's very hard to know what to expect with our different journeys, with our different, children and all that. We can only do our best and surround ourselves with people who can support you, especially when you're going through the tough season. So every journey is different. Embrace it as it comes. Ask for grace, pray for grace, and the grace is there. Like, if the Lord saw it fit to bless you with a child, number one, it's a gift. Like, that child wasn't, you didn't conceive, of course, by your doing, you guys coming together, but it is the Lord who saw it fit to give you that gift of a child. And so just know that He gave you the gift because He knew that you are capable of raising a kid, it doesn't stop there, and he doesn't leave you at that. He gives you the grace to do it. He gives you the strength to do it. You just kind of need to lean in to him and ask him to help you raise the kid as he would want you to raise him. So it's not an accident, it's not a mistake, number one. Number two, there's grace for it because it's in God's plan, and anything that he gives you the grace to do it. So there's grace to mother, there's wisdom that he can give you to mother them. There's make use of the resources around you, the people around you, to, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed and tired, and those sleepless nights, just be open to receiving help if it's available to you. Like, lean in to God and to the community that's around you. I think that's the summary. Lean into God, but also lean into the people around you to help you walk this journey. Invest in parenting materials. Watch parenting content like this one. Listen to other mothers tell their story. Get encouragement from them, and like, just don't do it alone. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Also, I think the fear of being a mother or a parent is usually, once you have kids, you kind of lose yourself. But it doesn't really have to be that way. Why can't we view it as an addition? Like, it doesn't erase you, it just adds to who you are. You're now a mother. It doesn't have to, change your whole life. You don't have to feel as if you will lose yourself in it. It's a higher calling. It's having to take care of to steward a person who will grow up and probably be influential, or do great things for the kingdom of God. Like, that's such an honor to have bestowed upon you. I think for me, it's just to encourage you not to be afraid of this journey, of these seasons. They come and go. These kids grow up, and they kind of get out of our nest. And as much as possible, while you have time with them, try and mold them as the Lord would want you to do, or like helping them to walk into the plan and purpose of God. So it's really a noble task, and if you view it as that, then we kind of take joy and take pride in it. So yeah, I've shared briefly my motherhood story and journey. I didn't get into details, but I think what I've shared will suffice for now. Just pick the encouragement that you can pick for your season. Don't be afraid to be a mother. Just um, lean into God and depend on Him for everything that you need to offer, or to give, or to steward your children and to disciple them. So until the next episode, looking forward to it. See you. Let's continue interacting. I have noticed I don't usually say subscribe, like, and share, but if you can, please do subscribe, like, share, and comment. And see you on the next one. Bye.